Sports Scene, Hampton Road's premier interview show with Greg Bicouvaris, each Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11.
And you look at that, 4-4 at home, which is just average, 4-3-1 on the road. I mean, you're not going to win any games like that. They were not the same team after they beat the Packers, yet the Packers were a totally different team.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBic and listen weekly as Greg interviews distinguished guests with excellent commentary and insight. Sports Scene, Saturdays at 10 a.m. on the Lighthouse 100.1 FM.
Mark your calendar for May 31st to June 3rd as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy authentic Greek food, desserts, beverages, music, dancing, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the signature cultural and food event on the peninsula. Located at 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Opa! From Chesapeake, Virginia, the Lighthouse 100.1 presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBic. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
Sports Scene midweek online, Saturday on the radio from 10 to 11 on 100.1 FM. 1010 AM, tunein.com, type in WPMH. Greg Bicouvaris along with Joe Daniel. Glad you're with us. And, of course, hope you're enjoying your holiday weekend. Sports Scene is an interview show, and also watch sports highlights on nnpstv.com. Tell your friends about gjbtv.com and click the YouTube link on the homepage for archived audio, video, shows, commercials, and everything else. Twitter @GregBic, that's GregBic, and you can see the rest of my Twitter handles on gjbtv.com in the contact section. Thank you to our military. Guest lineup presented by Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. Sponsors on gjbtv.com, Hampton Roads Online Mall.com, and of course hrsmhof.com. Phone line presented by the Newport News Greek Festival.org, coming up May 31st to June 3rd. You've been hearing the commercial right here on this radio station. Shows presented by hrsmhof.com. NBA, MLB, Tides are all in play. Great interviews, business segments, highlights, commentary. What teased me off? Thank you for making the habit to listen to Sports Scene weekly, and we love our regulars, newcomers, and tourists. Stay tuned.
The summer heat is now here. Is your air conditioner ready? Your AC works hard to keep you cool, so give it the loving it needs. Call AMR Comfort at 495-6676 and get your AC ready for the summer heat. If you need a new air conditioner, call AMR Comfort 495-6676 to schedule an appointment with the owner, Steve. He will meet with you and help you choose a system that fits your budget. If you need help with a water heater, call AMR Comfort 495-6676 to get your hot water flowing again. We believe in old-fashioned things like honesty, pride, craftsmanship, and going beyond the expectations of every customer. Call AMR Comfort 495-6676 and you'll deal with someone with the tools, the training, and the drive to make your home more comfortable than you've ever experienced. Find us online at amrcomfort.com. Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris.
And welcome back to Sports Scene right here on 1010 AM, 100.1 FM, tunein.com, type in WPMH in the search box. We've had this gentleman on several times. We'll talk more about it as it goes along. Accomplished broadcaster as well and singer. Let's welcome Bill Bishop from Virginia Beach. How are you, my friend?
I'm fine, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
Very good, very good. Bill and I used to work together at WNIS, and of course I've had him on several radio and TV shows. I guess start off with your background a little bit. A lot of Michigan roots, and of course the Wolverines are always front and center no matter what time of the year for football.
Absolutely, and I just heard that Coach Harbaugh is taking his team, I guess, to South Africa on their next international trip. He certainly gets around.
He definitely does a lot of unorthodox things, but the bottom line is he's been winning there, but I guess they want to see him beat Ohio State and evolve more in the National Four at the end of the year.
Well, I'm, as you say, I'm a Michigan bred, and those are my roots, in the University of Michigan in particular, where I used to work. And Mr. Harbaugh is 1-5 against his two main rivals, and so I would think that he would be on a rather warm seat as he heads into the 2018 season.
Yep, very organized for sure. He played for the late Bo Schembechler. Talking to Bill Bishop, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. All right, we're in baseball season, Bill. Before we talk about baseball, your thoughts on LeBron James, the NBA. There's still plenty of games left, but he can only do but so much, and it seems like he's huffing and puffing more as he gets older.
Well, but he is amazing. You have to give some athletes, a very few elite athletes, credit for the will that they exert on their surroundings. Of course, Michael Jordan comes to mind in particular, and I think LeBron is probably the best player since Jordan, and he just has a magic effect, especially in the home games. They've been able to win against the Celtics. Everybody is congratulating the Celtics coach for having a fabulous year with a depleted lineup. But it's very difficult to go against LeBron in the long run, I think, just because of the will that he exerts on the proceedings.
Kareem, of course, played for the Bucks and the Lakers, but LeBron recently just passed Kareem for the most field goals made in NBA playoff history. That's pretty impressive with Kareem's great career with the Bucks and Lakers.
Well, he's an amazing player, and of course Kareem was as good as it gets, certainly in the top five. If we're talking all-time top five, certainly Jordan and I think LeBron now belong in that pantheon.
Definitely. Talking to Bill Bishop. All right, Bill, let's switch gears to baseball, of course. Let's start off closer to home. Orioles have been really in such a bad start. I heard one comment the other day, basically it's just a long 2018 spring season until next year. That's pretty sad that they're pretty much not even going to make the postseason, and it's only in May.
Well, absolutely, and of course their attendance is falling off. And people are, fans I think are wising up. They're not willing to spend a whole lot of money for high-priced seats to a game that probably won't mean very much. And certainly the way the Orioles are going, they aren't helping themselves. And, of course, all the talk now is about Manny Machado and if he will be disappearing sometime in mid-season, which would really devastate the city and the team, I think, and point them on a strong downward spiral.
Bill, that's a lot of games, too. Like you said, 81 to fill at home. You compare it to 8 for the NFL or several for the NBA or the NHL. But baseball's got an issue there because April, May, it's still very cold in a lot of these cities, as you can tell.
Well, that's, scheduling problem. Of course, I'm from Michigan, and Detroit, I think, has had 8 games postponed already, which they're really up in arms over in the Motor City, and knowing how to make up those games. And, of course, Detroit isn't that strong a team either, but having to play doubleheaders certainly doesn't help the situation. Talking
to Bill Bishop, former voice of the Tides, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us here on Sports Scene, 1010 AM, 100.1 FM, tunein.com, type in WPMH. Thank you for making the switch, folks, from over at WHKT several months ago. Bill Bishop with us. And, Bill, you talk about the Orioles. There's nothing worse. I do a lot of stage managing for Fox to see empty seats on television.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Of course, sidetracking a little bit, we're reading about all the empty seats at NASCAR, but we won't get into that right now. But the Orioles are struggling, and I'm wondering about the future of Showalter and particularly the general manager who is in charge of bringing the players in. The Orioles, for a change, are having some success locally with the Tides, who are playing much better baseball than they have in recent years. So perhaps there's a candidate or two right here in our backyard who can help the Birds out a little bit later.
Very good, talking to Bill Bishop. And you talk about that, too. You got to wonder about the patience of Buck Showalter. He's managed the Yankees. He's managed other teams as well. And just you can see the grind on his face. That's a lot of baseball games. And to know in May that you're virtually not going to catch the Red Sox or Yankees has to be really, really daunting. And the burden of Machado, like you mentioned, has really played a part as well, not to mention injuries, too.
Well, I would think he definitely is feeling a lot older this year than he has in the past. Of course, there's some pretty good ball players there, and Adam Jones and Scope at second. But they do seem to be floundering, and of course a lot of that has to do with the pitching staff and the inability of Bundy and Gossman to really take over as the top two pitchers.
Absolutely. Let's switch gears to the Nationals. We'll take a short break in just a few moments, come back with some more of Bill Bishop's hobbies as well, talking to Bill. But, Bill, the Nationals didn't start off to a great start either.
Well, the Nationals are plagued, of course, by injuries, but more importantly, the rise of the Braves and the Phillies, which was not expected. The Mets are also in the mix, but the Braves and Phillies have shocked the baseball world, and particularly the Braves with their extremely young players, Ozzie Albies and Acuna, and their pitching seems to have come out of nowhere. So, ultimately you look at teams and you analyze and you come to find that the general managers are such key players in the overall equation, and Atlanta, and I guess I don't even know the name of the Phillies GM. But Atlanta has certainly made great strides, and that has hampered the Nationals, who are trying to get Daniel Murphy back and everybody on the same page, and it hasn't worked so far. But they're contending, and I think they'll be all right before the year is through. But it's going to be a much closer National League East race than a lot of us thought.
Talking to Bill Bishop, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. This is Sports Scene. I want to thank our good friends at Sakura Japanese Restaurant. Go by and see Jasmine and her wonderful staff right there in Chesapeake. Sushi bar, takeout, dine-in, all you can eat. They deliver it through orderup.com. Of course, you can see their commercial on Channel 13. Also, 1437 Sam's Drive is where they're located at. 410-4577, open for all holidays, too. Sakura Japanese Restaurant, delicious food, as we're talking to Bill Bishop. And, Bill, it's still early in baseball, but you see Cleveland's playing well, Houston's playing well. But one team has been struggling, except for the Nationals, when they beat them pretty bad, was the Dodgers. The Dodgers have struggled this year.
Well, they've started to come back a little bit, and, of course, they swept the Nats this past weekend. And they've got Turner back at third base, and that's a key. They lost their shortstop for the season, and that's always going to impact a team losing a good shortstop, although they've got the young man from Cox High School and UVA now playing shortstop for them. So if Kershaw can get healthy, they're going to be a factor before it's over. And with the slump of Arizona as well, that has really tightened up things in the National League West.
Speaking of Virginia Beach, how about Reynolds for the Nationals?
Reynolds have a great revival here. Oddly enough, he is, taking over for another Virginia Beach player, Ryan Zimmerman. So that's an unusual juxtaposition there. But, boy, I'll tell you, the local area continues to produce Major League Baseball players. And I think back to when I first came here 40 years ago. In 1978, there was one player with local ties who was even close to the major leagues, and that was an outfielder named Bobby Brown. And Bobby was actually from Eastville on the Eastern Shore. I've always kind of regretted that there weren't more major league players that I could relate to when I was broadcasting Tides baseball.
But Reynolds was actually born in the state of Kentucky. He grew up in Virginia Beach, though, but he was born in Kentucky. But listen to this, Bill.
We still claim him.
Oh, yeah. But listen to this, Bill. Already in his young career, but he is 34 years old. Mm-hmm. He'll be 35 this year, so he's getting up there. He's played for the Diamondbacks, Orioles, Indians, Yankees, Brewers, Cardinals, Rockies, and now the Nationals. That's a lot of teams.
It is amazing how some of these players just bounce from team to team. I grew up in an era where Al Kaline played for only the Tigers and Butch Robinson for the Orioles. And it's a little hard to adjust to with all the shifting around.
All right, we're going to take a short break, come back and talk about Bill's broadcasting and, of course, some of his hobbies. This is Sports Scene. Stay tuned.
Are you searching for a genuine connection with God and others? Then join Virginia Beach United Methodist this week for worship, life groups, holy yoga, or one of the many other activities we offer every week in a warm and friendly environment. We are located at 212 19th Street in Virginia Beach with modern services at 9:30 a.m. and traditional services at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. For more information, please visit our website at vbumc.org or call 757-428-7727.
Ever felt as if life was creating a fog between you and God? Well, there's a treasure in the Shop with Praise store written by John MacArthur entitled None Other, Discovering the God of the Bible. It engages such topics as the character and nature of God, God's election of His children. It examines the question of why bad things happen to God's people. It's a read guaranteed to help lift the fog. So come on down to the Shop with Praise store or call 488-1010 for more information. That's Shop with Praise at 488-1010.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com studios.
And welcome back to Sports Scene. Our good friends at CP Shuckers, Locals Tradition, Shore Drive, Pacific Avenue. Delicious food, great appetizers, steak bites, sandwiches, burgers, all the great specials, all the games on TV. Go by and see Matt, Mark, Chef Leon at CP Shuckers for delicious food with 2 locations. Back with Bill Bishop, who used to work at WNIS almost 20-plus years now since you retired, Bill.
21,
yeah.
Greg, believe it or not. I'm still going strong, but not actively.
Yeah, very good, very good. Of course, Bill did the news and production at WNIS for several years. You look back at the tie, it's hard to believe that it seems like they played now more at Harbor Park than they have at Met Park.
Well, I guess they have. Like I said, I've been here about 40 years, and in my time here, they have been longer at Harvard Park, and that is hard to believe because most of my memories were formed at Met Park.
I remember at Met Park when I was a kid, they still had the old Stewart sandwiches. I mean, you look at concessions now, Bill, you can have every type of food there is at a ballpark.
Just about, yeah. I remember those days, too. And, of course, they were fun days, but they weren't as involved and as expansive as they are today, as you mentioned.
Right, because the scores were the old ticker that used to get off the ticker, not the computer or the phone or the Internet. Yeah. Talking with Bill Bishop. Bill, let's talk about you had a big performance recently at the Sandler Center. Let's talk about it.
I did. My partner, Frank Cabillo, who is a major Frank Sinatra tribute artist, and I got together and produced and performed at the Sandler Center on April 22nd, and it turned out to be quite a good show because we had over 800 people there, and we had a ball. We had an absolute ball, but I'm telling you, I have an expression, performing is heaven and producing is the opposite place, which I won't say on the air, but it is hard work, I'm telling you, getting the pieces together and putting it together. The easiest part of the entire process is the final 2 hours when you're in the spotlight and you're out there performing, and we both just enjoyed it thoroughly. And we'd like to do something like that again. Right now we're working on perhaps a smaller venue, and probably not until next year at the earliest.
Right, kind of like what we did with the Hampton Roads Sports Media Hall of Fame. And I got to get your opinions. What did you think, Bill, about our first class?
Oh, I think it's an outstanding class. Of course, I was acquainted with Deuce and Jim Deucebella and some of the other people, and they're all very, very worthy of the honor.
Very good. Craft 17, located in Virginia Beach at 1706 Mediterranean Avenue. Great appetizers, excellent burgers, toppings, Carolina snap dogs, chicken sandwiches, salads, vegan burgers, house-cut fries, beer-battered onion rings. They have it all at Craft 17. Like them on Facebook. Go by and see Jamie and the wonderful staff. Get a great meal right near the oceanfront at 1706 Mediterranean Avenue in Virginia Beach. But like I said, for my Hall of Fame ceremony at Langley Speedway, as well as your event, those are big events. They take a lot of time and a lot of people to make it all happen, don't they, Bill?
Oh, absolutely, and you don't realize quite how extensive that's going to be when you get into it. You're all full of ideas and excitement, and then suddenly some of the realities hit you, and it becomes a little bit more work than you anticipated.
Another hobby you do, you read for some people as well. Talk about that hobby you've been doing for years.
Well, the public radio station, WHRO, has a service they call The Voice, where volunteers read the local newspapers, the Pilot and the Daily Press, on various days at various times. And I volunteer twice a month with a very good partner, a lady who is Kay Dahl is her name, and we every other Tuesday, the first and third Tuesday of the month, actually, and we enjoy it. And I think we perform a valuable service. It's primarily for people who are vision impaired.
Very nice. Talking to Bill Bishop, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us every Saturday morning at 10 to 11 on 1010 AM, 100.1 FM, tunein.com, type in WPMH. And like we said, Bill, anybody can listen to this show online first and then on TuneIn. TuneIn is a radio app that anybody can hear anywhere in the world. That's really changed a lot. I mean, AM and FM is still the same when you're around. Maybe the signals are a little bit better, the audio is better, but it's amazing how audio and content have changed so much that you can hear any show anytime in the world with your phone or computer.
Well, I hear occasionally from my relatives in Michigan, and that's kind of fun to think that they can actually pick me up at times when I let them know what's going on.
Well, what's amazing too is that for a long time we all called long distance, had to pay for it. Now long distance is free, which is even better. So that's what's changed the most as far as, phone technology, as far as broadcast. Talking with Bill Bishop. Bill, finally, one of your memorable moments for the Tides, talk about it. It's been for so many years that you did the games.
Well, working with Dave Rosenfield and the 2 years that I broadcast, Frank Verdi, the manager, both of them are gone now. May they rest in peace. And we had a lot of fun times. I enjoyed the travel for the most part, although occasionally you would wake up in a hotel in Pawtucket and say, are we in Pawtucket or are we in Rochester? And I remember that feeling. And some of the bus rides and plane rides took place at inconvenient hours, but that's life in the minor leagues. And I guess my fondest memories are Mookie Wilson, who became quite a Major League star and a star of the 1986 World Series a few years later. And I also worked with Mike Scott, who was the 1986 Cy Young winner when he was playing for Houston. And there were other players that I really enjoyed working with, a fellow named Marshall Brandt, who was a first baseman who wound up going to Columbus and coming back and kind of haunting the Tides when he played for Columbus. I think he was the International League's most valuable player in like 1980 or 81. But we had a playoff series with Columbus after the 1979 season that went right down to the final game, and I think the Tides lost in the 15th inning in a rainy night at Met Park, and a lot of wonderful memories, really.
Yeah, I remember Mike Scott when I was a kid at George Mason, the college radio station, watching his game on the postseason was really a true event. Final thoughts about Old Dominion. They have not made the postseason, men or women, in the NCAA tournament for several years. Will 2019 be any different?
Well, I think the women are headed definitely on the upward curve with a new coach bringing in almost an entirely new team. They are going to turn things around in a hurry. I would almost be convinced of that. The men are having difficulty scheduling, as we all know, and that is a key part of keeping the interest up in the program. I think they do a very nice job. They've got a wonderful venue. I know Mr. Seelig is doing what he can, and certainly Jeff Jones. Things might taper off a little bit this coming year, but I would never give up on the Monarchs. They have a great following, a great venue, and a great tradition. And sooner or later, they get back to where they should be.
Yeah, but to play devil's advocate, most people don't know the teams they're playing still. They're not familiar with them. They're not engaged with them. And then they go to the postseason tournament, the conference tournament. They lose early. They don't even make the NIT because the Conference USA doesn't have enough clout. But you saw the Conference USA teams did very well in the postseason that they did play in, though. That's the sad part, that Old Dominion was not even given an opportunity.
Well, it was a sad occasion with a 25-7 record that they couldn't make any kind of a postseason. Of course, they only want to compete in the NCAA or NIT tournament. But you're right. We can talk about the CUSA, being a bit of a problem for a lot of fans, and I'm probably the teams as well. But Middle Tennessee and Western Kentucky have certainly held up their end in basketball in recent times. It's going to be fun seeing what happens in football with ODU, because they seem to be coming along, although they didn't have the best year last year. But CUSA just doesn't offer the rivalries that the CAA used to.
Yeah, the biggest team on the schedule will be Virginia Tech for Old Dominion.
Bill,
all the best to you. Best in health and happiness. Thank you for your friendship for over 20 years.
All right, good talking to you, Greg.
You too. We'll talk to you soon, Bill. Okay. All right, Bill Bishop right there. And Joe Daniel, he's been in broadcasting for a long, long time, and it's good to hear how the industry has changed over the years from these people that were in the business well before you and I were born.
Yeah, it is fascinating to hear old-time radio stories. I love talking to people who have been in the radio industry for 30, 40 years, and talking about how carts were used, and turntables, and like I said, old-time radio. I love it. Like, I kind of wish that I were in radio back then, not now, where everything is digital and everything's automatic. I would have loved to have been part of actually pulling the levers and pushing the buttons.
Yeah, I got there at the tail end of carts and reel to reel, but I really like the digital a lot better.
Yeah.
Of course, but really a true broadcast legend, former voice of the Tides, Bill Bishop. All right, stay tuned.
Mark your calendar for May 31st to June 3rd as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy authentic Greek food, desserts, beverages, music, dancing, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the signature cultural and food event on the peninsula. Located at 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Opa! Virginia Beach, make it the summer to remember. Get ready for the Summer Lights Tour with Jeremy Camp.
You called me out from the grave. I know the answer to every question.
Matthew West.
I'm going all in. Now I'm just a beggar in the presence of the king.
And Ren Collective.
He's our rescuer.
With special guest Corinne Hawthorne. Escape the ordinary with the Summer Lights Tour with Jeremy Camp, Matthew West, Ren Collective, and Corinne Hawthorne. July 19th, 7 p.m. at Rock Church in Virginia Beach. Tickets are on sale now online at summerlightstour.com. That's summerlightstour.com. The Summer Lights Tour. It's the night everyone will be talking about.
Are you a Christian business owner or an aspiring Christian entrepreneur? Do you want to transform the marketplace in your community? Then it's time for you to discover B2B groups. Small group Bible studies that meet regularly to study what the Word of God says about business and to encourage one another with God's powerful wisdom for our lives and businesses. To learn more about joining or starting a group, visit blessed2bless.net. That's blessed, the numeral 2, bless.net.
You are listening to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris. Now, back to Greg. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
Time now for highlights. GJBTV.com. Click the YouTube link for archive shows. Sports Scene is online on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Saturday on the radio from 10 to 11 as well. HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, visit, bookmark it. Tourists go to it. HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. The locals do. GJBTV.com and HRSMHOF.com. Question presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, the Newport News, to Joe Daniel. Joe Daniel, how do you deal with awkward moments in public?
You kind of just have to put your head down a little bit and just keep walking, more or less. When something happens, like an awkward moment happens during my radio show or something, and the host says something and it catches me off guard, you kind of just have to be professional, move on. and just think like it never even happened. Or out in public and the kids do something embarrassing, you kind of just have to laugh it off and just be like, kids will be kids.
Right, because, when you're younger, you might lose your cool, but as you get older, you evolve and you mature, you step back a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a little bit slower. I at least for me, I'm a little bit slower to anger. Now that I've gotten older, I'm just a little bit more patient in that sense.
Very nice, very nice. Buffalo Wild Wings, lunch, dinner, appetizers, all the great boneless traditional wings, all the great sauces, burgers, wraps, sandwiches, beverages, desserts, a kids menu, all the games on TV, wings, beer, sports. Go by and see Paul and the wonderful staff 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. Watch the NBA postseason, NHL postseason at Buffalo Wild Wings and Newport News. All the great baseball on Fox as well. Give them a call at 249-3999. Lunch, dinner, late night. Buffalo Wild Wings next to Patrick Henry Mall in Newport News. A wonderful staff and great food. Recently, of course, you've been watching the NBA playoffs and great drama always with Shaq and Charles Barkley. Shaq, of course, played for the Lakers. Charles Barkley played for the Sixers, among several teams. They went at it pretty heavy. Here it is.
If you don't have a great relationship with your best player, you're never going to win.
That's not true.
He did not.
That's not true.
In your opinion.
True.
No, just because you say something, it's just
That's not true.
It's not true.
Me and Pat Riley never saw eye to eye, and what happened to my man win. So it's not true what you're saying. It's not true what you're saying.
It's not true.
I'm just letting you know
was the man on that team.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter. I was a role player. You're right, but you know what?
That's my point. That's my point. I'm saying with your best player.
You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to championship.
I'm just telling you something.
Stop baby.
Wayne carried you to that championship. No matter how much you scream, you loud, that does not make you right. You're wrong in this. And
that's why you ain't win, because you're a baby. Stop babying these players.
I'm not babying no players.
You don't play. You don't play. You got to sit his down. Period.
He got to repair.
He ain't got to repair nothing. You got to stop babying your players. You got baby. That's why you ain't win.
He got to. I didn't have Dwayne. Dwayne Wade and Kobe Bryant carry me up and down the court.
So why you not Hall of Fame?
Because
I got 3 finals MVP, Chuck.
Because you
Google me, Chuck.
Everybody
Google me, Chuck. You see that?
Everybody know you're a great player.
You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to championship. He ain't got to repair nothing. He got to step up and play.
We all didn't have other players carrying us up and down the court. You can yell as much as you want to.
I got 3 finals MVP. I mean,
you are a great player.
Thank you.
But you wouldn't have got him. You didn't have Kobe and Dwayne.
I will say.
Well, my thoughts are you can't always be best friends with the people you work with on television, but that's good drama. People like to watch it. They can agree to disagree. Yes, they got anger, but so what? It was a lot of fun to watch, and they were passionate about the sport and passionate about their opinions.
Hey, Jessica, I haven't seen you in a while. Wow, you look fabulous.
Thanks.
Okay, I gotta know, what is your secret?
Well, you're not gonna believe this. It's not one of those $100 creams or lotions either.
Do tell.
I'll let you in on a little secret. It's the Ultimate HA formula from Purity Products.
Really?
It combines hyaluronic acid and collagen in a capsule.
In a capsule?
Yeah, it hydrates my skin, and women love that. And get this, it also cushions my joints.
Wow.
So, Ultimate HA is great for beautiful skin and healthy, flexible joints.
Huh.
You know, guys love it too, especially when they hit 50. Give it a try.
I bet it cost a fortune.
No, it doesn't. You can get a free bottle of Ultimate HA today.
Wait, did you say free?
Give them a call. That's what I did.
For your free bottle of Ultimate HA capsules, just pay for shipping and call now. 1-800-360-8715. 1-800-360-8715. Call now. 1-800-360-8715.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris.
And welcome back to Sports Scene. Our good friends at Panera. All items 100% clean. They deliver. Take advantage of all their great food, like their soups and sandwiches, salads, bagels, breads, smoothies, and they're delicious during the spring and summer. Excellent breakfast sandwiches, desserts. Go by and see Brian and the staff. For more, go to PaneraBread.com. Food as it should be, right there in the Harborview section of Suffolk at 6255 College Drive. Phone number 483-3670. We start our weekly segments with the Norfolk Tides. We had him on earlier on Sports Scene. He's been with me on the game as well as these stations too. Let's welcome the PR director for the Tides, Ian Locke. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, Greg. Thanks for having me.
Very good. The Tides are off this week, but they've had a very good start to 2018.
Yeah, we're on the road right now. We just wrapped up a homestand, but great start to the year. I mean, we're over 500. We played really well. Second place in our division, 22-19 right now. Just swept a doubleheader to wrap up the homestand on Sunday. So playing well, playing good baseball, and we return home to the ballpark next Tuesday.
How do they determine that? I know it's the luck of the draw. You get to play or not play during holidays like Memorial Day or July 4th. Do y'all have any say in that? Because, of course, you say you don't come back till Tuesday, and, of course, people are going to be looking for something to do during the holiday weekend, but the schedule's done way in advance.
The International League, we can put in some dates that we request that we would like to be home and away. Like, for example, we can't be home when Harborfest is in Norfolk, so we're always on the road then. Louisville is always on the road during the Kentucky Derby. Indianapolis is always on the road during the Indy 500. So each team kind of puts together some requests that they want, and then it kind of falls, hit or miss year by year. So we're a club that doesn't necessarily have to be home on the 4th of July. So we're always home on the 3rd of July. We have fireworks, and some teams like Charlotte, for example. The city of Charlotte shoots their fireworks from Knight Stadium in Charlotte on 4th of July, so they have to be home that game. So each city is a little different in their priorities and their requests, but as far as Memorial Day and things like that, like I know we're not home this year, but I think I took an early peek at next year's schedule, and I think we're home on Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and Labor Day. So we got a whole bunch of holidays next year, so it changes year by year.
You got all the holidays covered. Talking to Ian Locke with the Norfolk Tides. And one thing about the Tides, consistency, both at Harbor Park and with your manager, has been back for several years.
Yeah, it's pretty unheard of to have a AAA manager stay in this spot for such a long time. But Ron Johnson, we're thrilled to have him. This is his 7th year with the Tides. He joined us in 2012 and all-time winningest manager. He also likes to point out quickly that he's the all-time losingest manager as well. But that's something, the longevity here is certainly great. He knows everyone on our staff. Obviously the players is a big thing, but for us as a front office staff to see RJ walking around the halls, and he knows that people by name and says hello, and game day staff and season ticket holders and the like. It's we're really fortunate to have RJ here in Norfolk.
Talking to Ian Locke, and of course, one thing about the Tides, they've always been dissected. The Orioles have always tried to pick, and no matter what time of the year it is, whether it's in April or September, the Orioles are picking at the Tides roster. But this year, the Orioles are off to a very shaky start, and the Tides have been the benchmark.
Yeah, it's cyclical a little bit. I mean, obviously, we'd love to see the Orioles get up to a little better start. They got such a bad start, especially on the road this year, but. We've already had, the Norfolk to Baltimore shuttle, if you will, in place this year. We've already had 12 different players go up and down with the Orioles this year. 2 of those players, David Hess and Angel Vioma, who were both on our team, made their major league debuts. And so, we've had a mix. Joey Rickard was here most of the year, an outfielder, and he went up to Baltimore. His first game up there, hit 2 home runs. So we were very happy to see that, and we've 2 catchers, Caleb Joseph and Andrew Susak have been up and down, and then a bunch of pitchers, as is always the case with Tanner Scott, who's a really young prospect, throws high 90s out of the bullpen, left-handed, and then David Hess, who went up and won his first major league debut last Saturday, I believe. So we've seen some guys go up and down like we do every year, and hopefully the Orioles can turn it around a little bit because. They certainly got some talent on that team. They just got off to such a slow start this season.
Yeah, we chatted with, of course, on TV over the years with Joseph and Mancini, and Mancini has been very a good bright spot for the Orioles, but he got hurt earlier this year.
Yeah, he missed a couple games with an injury, and he's got off to a decent start. I mean, he's got 6 home runs already, 16 runs batted in, and playing outfield. He's played he's pretty much their everyday left fielder now, and he's been batting leadoff. So. He's been off to a pretty good start, and Manny Machado is having an all-world season again. He's leading the league in home runs, I think RBIs. He's right up there with batting average as well. So he's a Triple Crown threat at this point, and it's just unfortunate the pitching kind of struggled really early on, especially the starters, and the offense hasn't come around. I think they're only hitting, looking at it now, they're hitting 233 as a team, and that's just not going to cut it, especially in the American League East.
Sports Scene is heard every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 on several platforms, 1010 AM, 100.1 FM, tunein.com. How most people listen by typing WPMH on your phone or your computer. It's online during the week on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook as well. Talking to Ian Locke. Ian, people always like amenities. You guys have all types of fireworks, and amenities are always fun at the ballpark.
Yeah, absolutely. People, expect to not just come out to enjoy a baseball game, but to have some fun stuff to do while they're there, and that's what we kind of pride ourselves on, a fun family environment where we have folks out here enjoying the beautiful weather and the view from the river and the hot dogs and the beers and whatever you need. But we got a big homestand coming up next week where we start up on Tuesday, May 29th. We host the Pawtucket Red Sox for 3 games, so any Boston Red Sox fans in the area, this is the one chance the Red Sox come to town for 3 games, so you feel free to come out and cheer for the Tides, or watch the Red Sox if that's possible. But and then next week Friday night we have a youth jersey giveaway. It's always a popular one where we give away a whole bunch of jerseys of the Tides to youngsters. And then Saturday night next week we have a fireworks show as well. So keeping something, keeping fans entertained as much as we can. And we always have the T-shirt shoots and the mascots and all sorts of fun stuff that you get at minor league baseball.
Yep, and of course Ian's a board member for the Hampton Road Sports and Media Hall of Fame. We had a big event a few weeks ago at Langley Speedway. Ian, thank you for that, and also for letting me throw the first pitch out a few weeks ago. That was a lot of fun. Even Ron said I can maybe do middle relief sometime, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you got it over the plate, and we're always looking for left-handers too. I mean, left-hander, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, we need the left-handed relief is hard to find, so you keep working on it, get a little more velocity, and who knows.
Yeah, tell the fans in Radio Land here about rain delays and weather, because sometimes it could rain in the morning. That doesn't mean it's going to affect your game in the evening because you guys have a tarp, and you know how the weather changes every 5 minutes here.
Yeah, we had a brutal week this last week. I mean, we had looking at it on paper, it was a 6-game homestand where we had 2 day games mixed in over a 6-game homestand, and thought, hey, this is going to be a nice simple homestand. And I think we pulled the tarp 10 to 15 times that week. We ended up only having 1 game rained out, but the weather in Hampton Roads this last week was just brutal. But yeah, so I mean, we do everything we can to play the game, and every single day, the last thing anyone wants to do is play a doubleheader if we can help it. So we are always going to do everything we can to play that night's game. Just because the forecast says it's going to rain later on does not mean we're going to cancel or postpone a game. Just because it's raining where you are doesn't mean it's raining here at the park. So, we've had plenty of times where people are saying, hey, it's pouring in Virginia Beach, it's pouring in Chesapeake, it's pouring in Hampton. Well, right now at the ballpark, we're playing. It looks fine. So we're going to always do everything we can to play. And our grounds crew, Kenny Magner and Justin Hall, do a fantastic job. They're here, 7, 8, 9 in the morning for a night game, getting ready, preparing the field just in case it does rain. And when it does, we put the tarp on. We do everything we can to get it playable, and we'll do everything we can to play that night's game. So as someone who monitors the social media, we get a whole lot of people emailing us, asking us, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, asking us, daily, is the game being played tonight? Have you guys canceled it yet? And the answer is always, we will do everything we can to play that night's game. And if we do change it, if we can't play, we'll certainly update everyone on our website and our social media as quickly as possible.
Yeah, give a couple responses, an initial early response, and then one when you know for sure. That's all you can do because, like you said, the weather changed. Look at the people in Kingsmill last week. I mean, they lost a day. It rained a lot. The greens for golf can be very similar to sometimes the outfield in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, it's the the field's great. It soaks up water and drains really well, but there's only so much it can take. I mean, Saturday we ended up raining out, which was unfortunate. We had fireworks and we had a really big crowd expected, and it just rained. I mean, it rained for constantly for 16 hours or something like that from Friday night through up until about 6:30, 7 o'clock on Saturday, and then it stopped for 20 minutes and rained again at 8 o'clock. So the field after a while just was just so saturated with all the weather we had last week. But yeah, I mean, we were able to get in bright and early on Sunday, take that tarp off, and Kenny and Justin worked their magic, and we ended up playing 2 games here on Sunday starting at noon. So we'll always play the games whenever we can, and that's not going to stop people from calling and asking if we're playing, but we'll do our best every single day.
Are you up to date now? Do you have any games to make up, or you're up to date?
We have 2 doubleheaders scheduled down the road. We rained out a game in April against Gwinnett, a home game, and we're playing that on June 11th, which is going to be a doubleheader. And then we actually got snowed/iced out in Syracuse in April. The last game we were playing in Syracuse, go figure, an April day game in Syracuse got cold weather and snow. So because it was the last game of that series, and we don't go back to Syracuse again, we're actually going to make that game up here as part of a doubleheader in July. So we'll be playing Syracuse 4 times here over a 3-game stretch, and one of those games, per league rules, Syracuse will actually serve as the home team at Harbor Park because they lost the benefit of being the home team when the game got snowed out in Syracuse. So there'll be a home team at Harbor Park in July, which is always a little awkward.
Yeah, Syracuse, of course, definitely has more, as you well know, fall and winter than they do spring and summer, for sure. Leave us with all the social media and the website.
Yeah, fans can follow us. Our website at norfolktides.com. That'll have it's always the best place to look for the latest promotions and schedule, times of games and things like that. Fans can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/NorfolkTides, on Twitter at Norfolk Tides. We have Snapchat at Norfolk Tides and Instagram at Norfolk Tides as well. So all sorts of social media spots, and even if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to us through those. We'll do our best to respond to them, and we're happy for fans to follow us and interact.
All right, we'll talk to you in 2 weeks, and we'll do it every week through the summer.
Sounds great. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Ian. All right, Ian Locke right there with the Norfolk Tides right there. And, of course, for more, go to gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link to listen to Sports Scene, archives, and much more. Stay tuned.
Mark your calendar for May 31st to June 3rd as Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church in Newport News presents the Newport News Greek Festival. Enjoy authentic Greek food, desserts, beverages, music, dancing, arts and crafts, and much more. This is the signature cultural and food event on the peninsula. Located at 60 Traverse Road off exit 258B on Route 17 in Newport News. For more, log on to newportnewsgreekfestival.org.
Opa! Sports and Imports, located at 1322 Transylvania Avenue in Chesapeake. Sports and Imports specializes in all European models without the European price. ASE certified and Bosch certified. Don't waste time and money guessing what the problem is. Sports and Imports can pinpoint the problem and fix it the first time. Make an appointment today. Financing is available. Visit sportsandimports.net or call 545-9394. Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com studios.
All right, welcome back to Sports Scene. Just fresh off the Norfolk Greek Festival, we saw Dinos Pierrakos and his award-winning olive oil laconico. How are you, my friend?
Good. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me back, Greg.
Yeah, no rest for the weary. This is the festival time. And first of all, how was the Norfolk Greek Festival?
It was amazing. It was amazing. Despite the iffy weather, we had a great turnout, a great, amazing following, and of course, we had we had a blast with all the amazing Greek food and the amazing music.
They both have their little differences in venues. Norfolk's a little bit more cozier inside, while Newport News is a little bit more spread out, but both add a lot of charisma and charm to the table.
Yes, definitely. They're both amazing. They both offer, while the same thing, they offer it a little different. That's what makes them unique and special. They're just a great time and a great place to meet and introduce our family's award-winning extra virgin olive oil.
All right, Newport News Greek Festival, May 31st to June 3rd. Then, of course, the Fall Festival. We'll talk to Dino as well about Newport News' fall event in October. But, Dino, it's always a fun event. 4 straight days, 4 nights of fun, food, and, of course, great olive oil.
Exactly. Come out and taste the world's most awarded Greek extra virgin olive oil and see what real extra virgin olive oil should taste like. Clean, fruity, velvety, and a nice buttery aftertaste.
We talked about it before the Norfolk Festival. It's a perfect Greek salad. It's tomatoes, cucumbers, onions, feta cheese, olives, and of course your great olive oil. Horiatico salad is really, really good.
Exactly. As simple as possible. Keeping it classic and traditional is where you get the most taste out of just natural, pure ingredients, and one being pure extra virgin olive oil, which for many consumers that don't know happens to be one of the largest food frauds in the world, considering that a lot of them say extra virgin, but by the time they reach the customer's hand, they have either gone rancid or have just gotten defective, and just are not up to par to what the customer should be consuming and what they should be getting. And that's where we come in. We are the most awarded Greek olive oil producer, as I mentioned. Again, for the 5th consecutive year, we have achieved the gold in one of the largest competitions in the world, in the New York competition. We achieved best Greek Koroneiki extra virgin olive oil in the world in the Athens International Competition. Pretty much every competition we have put it in this past year too, we have gotten the gold medal. So that's just a testimonial and the quality that we achieve to give to all our customers.
Absolutely. You can see their great Facebook page, Laconical, as well. What type of products will you bring to the Newport News Greek Festival that people can buy?
Of course, yes. We will bring our award-winning traditional olive oil. Of course, along with that, we will bring all our infused olive oils, which are made from that, like our amazing blood orange, great for summertime grilling, seafood. Our famous Greek seasoning olive oil, which pretty much you use it in everything but desserts. And along with all of that, we will be sharing our amazing traditional dark and white aged balsamic vinegars that we have been working very close with a small producer from Modena, Italy. So we bring you the best of Greece and the best from Modena, Italy.
Yeah, the best in Europe right there, Laconico at the Newport News Greek Festival. Folks, you need to stop by there. May 31st to June 3rd. Get some olive oil from Dino and his wonderful family, too. Dino, what is the shelf life? How long does a bottle last for if you don't open it? What's the expiration? Is it like wine that lasts for a long time?
That's a good question. Most olive oils have close to a 2-year shelf life. That's considering the olive oil is of good quality. Our olive oil has an over 2-year shelf life, considering that it's very high in polyphenols, that is the antioxidants in extra virgin olive oil. So our olive oil has an over 2-year shelf life. You're able, as long as you keep it in a dark place away from heat and sunlight, in a cabinet somewhere, you should not have an issue even if it's opened. Of course, as you're using it, the more oxygen that goes into the bottle, you need to start using it a little faster, just like wine, because the oxygen deteriorates it. So you just need to use it. You use it or you lose it.
Yeah, very good. How do people get a hold of you? Talk about your website and your Facebook and phone number.
Yes, you're able to. Other than the 2 great events that we come to 3 times a year in the area, everyone is able to find us online at www.laconico.com, and that is LACONIKO. And they can order online or go online and find the nearest retailer that provides our family's production. And I'd love for everyone to taste, and especially these 2 events where we can teach everyone and show them what real extra virgin olive oil should taste like.
Dino, we'll see you May 31st to June 3rd. All the best to your brother and your family for keeping the tradition going.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dinos Pierrakos from Laconico Olive Oil. And one thing, Joe Daniel, people love good olive oil in their salads, and this is the time of the year to experiment with your salads and seafood and burgers and everything else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Something light and refreshing. You know, it's a hot summer day. The last thing that I would definitely want to eat is something heavy and just not going to make me feel good, but a nice refreshing salad, like you said, that has the peppers and the cucumber in it. Sounds really good. And then you just top it all off with just olive oil. No ranch dressing, no Thousand Island or anything like that. Just some good extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah,
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, next time we talk to him in the fall, we'll talk about that Mediterranean diet because there's something to be said about that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, stay tuned for What Tees Me Off.
What Tees You Off? Presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
It's now time for our favorite segment, What Tees Me Off, of course, presented by our good friends at Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. Go by and see Mike and the great staff. Spacious, nice dining area, bar, lunch, dinner daily. Great place for Father's Day. Great place anytime. Burgers, steaks, soups, salads, appetizers, seafood, pasta, chicken ribs. You can't go wrong. Excellent desserts. Beverages, dine-in, carry-out. Great place to eat lunch and dinner 7 days a week in Kempsville at 1255 Fordham Drive. Give them a call at 523-4832 for Outback in Kempsville. What teased me off, being solicited. You know, that constant spam call or the knock on the door, the awkward hour solicitor has no regard of family time.
Yeah, it's hard being interrupted, like you just want to relax or something, and then there's somebody from Cox. And I understand, I mean, it's a job. They got to sell, and it's tough, I am sure, going door to door. But also just like at the mall, people selling something in the kiosk, and then they're aggressive in that sense as well. Because
people aren't going to the malls anymore, too. But just that awkward spam call that you get on your cell phone, like, where are you getting that phone number from? I remember you said this a few months ago. It's like Steven calling. You know his name is not Steven.
No, it's always a false name.
We can laugh all day about that. People laying their hat or their keys in appropriate places like the dinner table, especially guests, just dropping their keys right on a place you're like, really? You know, during your dinner table.
Yeah, no, like ask if there's a place that you can put it, be courteous. You're not. That's one of the things that really tease me off.
Yeah.
Is when people go into your home. I know it's that there's that saying, like, act like you're at home, like my place is your place, but don't assume. Have the invitation first, Don't kick your feet up because you think it's going to be okay. Ask, be courteous, be polite, that this is somebody else's house. Take care of it.
Right. Less is more, probably. Don't put your feet up or put your keys where I'm going to put my hamburger at later. People forget to tell you there is a big dog in their house before you go there. A vicious dog especially.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Whenever. It's always a concern of mine, especially having kids. My kids, whenever they see a dog, they automatically just want to run to it, and you just never know. It's probably, more often than not, it's a sweet dog. No issue. But you never know. Something could happen, and all it takes is an instant, and then somebody's life is completely changed.
Usually pets are like their owners, how they treat them. So if they're docile, maybe their owners are docile as well. All right, ties. I cannot stand ties. For whoever invented ties, shame on you. I don't like nothing formal. When I do dress in formal attire, it's in vain. I cannot stand dressing up. Tying ties is also very awkward. Wearing them is even worse. I feel like I'm being strangled. But whoever invented ties, shame on you.
Yeah, I don't understand. Well, like you said, I don't like dressing up either. I used to when I was younger for whatever reason. I don't know why, but like dressing up with a tie, like I used to like bow ties. Not for me anymore. I just want to wear shorts and flip-flops and a tank top for the most part.
And for that matter, those people that always tell you, I told you so. You know who those people are. And see, I told you so. See.
Always have to be right. That's the thing. They always have to be right.
Realizing when a friendship is over, Joe Daniel, but you still have to occasionally see that person, work with that person.
Yeah, it's awkward because you want to try to move on. You need to be professional, be nice, courteous, cordial with them. But at the same time, you have that in your mind. Like, I remember the thing you did to me.
Or things.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard to move past that.
And you did things after 5 together, but now it's strictly just business, of course. People who always want credit for something. Those ones that always want credit.
Sometimes you just got to do things. The people who always want to be recognized. Hey, look how great I did this. Well, you did what you're supposed to do. Good job with that, I guess.
Are the ones that always want compliments to go with that as well. Man buns. I cannot stand looking at that. It's just pathetic. They're like...
Oh, the hair, yes.
And the last thing, too, is, we're trying to get somewhere and trying to get our tasks done, but when you're driving somewhere, you got to get something on the email or the phone or make a talk to a kid, and you have to go right to the bathroom. So you're interrupted automatically when you get there after a 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
It's a pause, then it gets distraction, and then you get lopsided.
Yeah, it's a hassle.
It really is. That's what teased me off. I want to thank all of our guests today on Sports Scene. Sports Scene is a weekly interview show right here on 1010 AM, 100.1 FM. TuneIn.com, type in WPMH, all the Lighthouse. Right here, I want to thank Colleen, I want to thank Joe Daniel. We'll be off next week. An encore show will be on Sports Scene from Saturday from 10 to 11 as well. At Greg Bick on Twitter. For more, go to gjbtv.com. Happy Memorial Day weekend. I'm Greg Bicouvaris. For Joe Daniel, we'll talk to you soon.